Hi folks, welcome to Edge Parts and Performance Methanol Madness, and just a few sights and sounds of Carnival Fireworks Night from our last meeting at Ruapuna. We did get rained out halfway through the night, but there was some pretty good racing. AJ, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Craig. Yeah, brilliant night's racing. Boy, it was fast, wasn't it? Big week. Joel Myers is in town, and this Saturday night we got racing again at Ruapuna.
Yeah, it's great. The 16-year-old Californian flyer has officially landed at Christchurch Airport, and he's domiciled down for a couple of days, just waiting until Saturday. Louise Smith, welcome to the show again, and what were your thoughts on Saturday night?
Until the rain set in, it was an awesome meeting, but we've finally hit December, so we've got a lot to look forward to this month.
Absolutely. It's a jam-packed month of racing all around the country, with all of our drivers participating at our local events and some of the other tracks around the South Island. Well, to get the show started, it's Crash of the Week brought to us by KH Fabrication. If you break it, he'll fix it. And this week, AJ, we're looking at California. Michael Pickens in his time trial. It's a pretty interesting crash there, barrel rolling into the entrance of his first lap time trial, and manages to drive out.
Yeah, quite bizarre, wasn't it? You know, the car looked very, very light in the back, and once it started bouncing, well, he was lucky to get away from that.
Yeah, that's the CRC midget all the way over in America, and I think Michael would be counting his lucky stars here. A complete barrel roll, and I'm sure there was a fair bit of damage there. In fact, I don't think he went so well in the event itself, and it probably just threw his confidence a little bit. So an interesting night for Michael in California. Okay, it's time for meeting reviews brought to us by ProBend, and the first meeting we'll look at is our very own Ruapuna Speedway. Louise, it was the quarter midgets competing. They got two races in on the night, and how did you see it play out?
Well, I was pretty bummed to not get a feature race in, and I know that all of our drivers were too, but of course we saw Romeo take out the first heat win. He won a feature last year at Ruapuna, so he'll be hungry for number 2. And Malachi, hot off that South Island title win a couple weekends ago, also had a pretty impressive drive to take out the second heat race win. There's also a couple of really strong performances from other drivers like Brooke Clark and Brodie Morris, who are really starting to kind of come along now, and it'd be cool to see them compete up the front.
Yeah, isn't it great to see a bit of competition for Jack Brownlees, and Jack really has to work for his wins these days. I'd note that Malachi Webb did an 18.5 second lap around Ruapuna Speedway, which is actually pretty good going for a little 200cc quarter midget. So in the next class we'll look at is the TQs, and Louise, this is your specialty. How did you see it on Saturday night?
Yeah, well, personally, I'm a massive fan of the mixed 3-group format that they've been running this season. I think it's great for the amount of TQs that we're kind of seeing coming through. You know, upwards of 25 is just a lot to be kind of racing against just for a heat race. So I think that splitting them up's really been working out well, and we've been seeing a lot of the new guys come through, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. Having the sort of groups racing against each other is a far better way of doing it. 25 TQs on the track is just absolute carnage, as we know. But the two races that did happen, it was Ricky Brett that took out the first race. Good to see Ricky returning to form. Just remember, that's his second meeting back, and he's already winning heats. And Aaron Finlay, our rookie from last year, taking out the second race, and he did particularly well. But a performance that was noteworthy was Ben Morgan. He found himself on the wrong end of the first heat and managed to make his way right through to the front again. And Ben joins us on the show. Ben, that was a heck of a run, that first heat, mate. What do you remember about it?
Yeah, off the start, I got a good run into turn 1. Made a bit of a mistake and let Ricky get past underneath me. Coming into turn 2, cooked it, and yeah, jumped on the inside nerf bar of his car and got hooked. And yeah, it was good though, coming through from the back of the pack after the restart. It was a really good run through traffic, so yeah, overall a good race.
Well, that's a brand new motor you had in that car as well. You cooked one out at Ellesmere after performing very well, and you must have been pleased how it all played out, and some of the manoeuvres you had to make to get up to third, I think it was pretty impressive. Could you believe that you made it that far forwards in the race?
Yes, the new motor did go really well. A spare one that went after Ellesmere, but yeah, I was really surprised to come through that far, especially with all the good cars we've got down here. But yeah, it was really good to get up to third at the end.
And I know you've got a personal goal of yours is to try and break the lap record, which is held at the track by Caleb Curry, 15.18. You got pretty close to it on Saturday, 15.37, and who knows how it would have gone if you did get a feature race. It looks like that car is really hooked up, and you've got the setup looking pretty good.
Yeah, we're looking for that lap record. Really nice to get it. The tracks have been so good end of last season and the start of this season. So I reckon, especially with the new car we've got, it's really quick. So we'll see how we go throughout the season.
Yeah, good stuff, Ben. Well, look, thanks for joining the show. Now, I know you're going to take on the TQ title this year. I think it's in Napier. Any plans building up to that? What are your thoughts, and who's your biggest opposition?
There's not really any plans leading up to it, just race as much as possible. And then Jeremy Webb, he's got to be the top dog at the moment still. So he's probably the main competition. There's a lot of cars up that are really quick, so we'll see how we go.
Well, thanks for joining the show, Ben. Good to get your insights on how your car's going, and certainly you've become one of the favourites at Ruapuna. AJ, he's a good peddler, that Ben Morgan, isn't he?
Oh, he's hellish and talented, isn't he? And he showed us last year when he got into the midget and gave that a really good old tune-up too. I really, really rate this kid, and he's young and has got so much talent. Yeah, he's a good one.
So the modified sprint's got 2 races before the rain also. AJ, who impressed you?
Oh, Craig Cox again really impressed me. Coxie's a win it or bin it sort of guy, and he just gets the hammer down. I love watching him.
Yeah, Craig Cox, a real powerhouse of modified sprint racing. He seems to have got that car all sorted out now. Louise, who impressed you?
Courtney Jones is someone that's always impressed me. I think she's a crowd favourite. She's been a really strong competitor for a number of years, and it's just hard not to love her.
Yeah, Courtney Jones, our fastest lady on dirt. She had a lap time of 14.58 in the race that she won, so she's doing particularly well for the Springston Hotel crew. Well, folks, after the break, we catch up with a new favourite for the V6 Wingless Sprint Rumble, and he got so close to the track record on Saturday night. Triple X chassis are now in stock at Edge Parts and Performance. These outstanding sprint car chassis are winners with the World of Outlaws, proven in Pennsylvania, and raced on the bull rings of New Zealand. Edge Parts and Performance, proud stockists of racer-inspired, race-proven Triple X chassis and race components. This Saturday night at the Racecourse Hotel and Motor Lodge Ruapuna Speedway, the Californian Flyer appears for the first time on New Zealand soil. Joel Myers Jr. is shaking down his sprint car at the track in preparation for his New Zealand sprint car title shot. Plus, it's the Veggies Direct Canterbury Championships for midgets, TQs, V6 wingless sprints, modified sprints and quarters. Let's see what the kid from California is made of. Gates open at 4:30 and the dirt starts flying at 6. And welcome back to the show. Boothie tells me all the orders are still flying out the door at Edge Parts and Performance. AJ, the V6 wingless sprints, your thoughts?
Yeah, very good, strong competition really, wasn't there? And Andrew Macca thought he was just brilliant the other night.
Yeah, he really had that car honking along, and he got very close to the lap record. Andrew Gregg was second and Mark Morris was third. V6 wingless sprints only managed to get one race just before the rain came down. But joining the show is Andrew Macca. Welcome to the show, Andrew, and that was quite the performance you put on Saturday.
Hey guys, thanks. Yeah, it was a good night for the first race that we got in anyway. It went well.
So tell me about that tussle you had with Andrew Gregg. It looked pretty good there for a number of laps. Both of you guys were lapping pretty fast.
Yeah, we were. It was the track was obviously pretty hot, as you know, so it wasn't going to be easy to get past him. And yeah, he was putting some good laps down. So waited for him to make a mistake, and he finally did, just enough anyway to get up the inside. But yeah, we were both going pretty good at the time, so it was a good fun race.
Yeah, well, there's a fair bit of horsepower in that car of yours, mate. You got very close to the lap record. The record stands at 15.84 and you managed to lap at 15.90. So just a smidgen off that track record. What do you put that down to, mate? Yeah,
well, I actually didn't realise it was that close. But yeah, I think obviously the track was great, so you need that first of all. But the car is well set up. It's been set up at the end of the start of this season, and it's not easy to drive, but I think it's probably easier than a few of them out there to drive. And we worked on that end of last year, and it's carried on through. So I think we've got the setup good, and the track's good, and if I can drive good, then we should be fast.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's certainly a few conditions coming together that make that car fast. What most people don't realise is that you're actually the New Zealand CTRA V6 Wingless Sprint champion. Whereabouts did you win that, and when did it actually happen?
So yeah, that's at the end of last season down in Ashburton. So it's a 2-day event. 5, I think, heat races to a one-off feature race to determine the champion. And yeah, managed to get that. Had a great 5 heat races. I wasn't the fastest. I was consistent, and then got to on the front row for the feature and managed to win from there. And had a really good car in the feature. Probably the best car I had all weekend was the feature race car. So yeah, got that job done, and it was a big achievement.
Yeah, it was a good effort by the Jemmetts Motorsport team in total, and you've been part of their crew for a wee while. I know you own the car yourself, but you certainly run under their banner. I tell you what, I think the Rumble this year is going to be good for the V6 wingless sprints, and the way you're going at the moment, mate, I think you might give Luke McClymont a bit of a shake-up. He's a real fast driver from the North Island.
Yeah, he's quick. I've heard about him, and I have seen some videos of him, and he's definitely fast. But I'd like to think that we've certainly got something for him. I'm sure we do, and hopefully a few of the other guys, to be honest, in the grade down here. So yeah, I can't wait to race him. You always want to race the fastest guys you can, and sort of test yourself against them. So he's probably the quickest in the North Island, and hopefully if me and a few other guys can keep on the pace, I don't think we'll have it all his own way. So yeah, it'd be a good challenge.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, look, thanks for joining the show, Andrew. Good to get your insights into V6 wingless sprint racing. We'll catch up with you at Ruapuna, and look out for that 51C car that seems to be going so well. Andrew Macca, AJ, an XTQ driver, so stepping into the V6 wingless sprints.
Yeah, look, the wingless V6 sprints, it's all about momentum, and it's very similar to that with TQs. And so, you know, I've always said that if you're a half decent TQ racer, you're going to be a very decent anything else. And it is all about momentum. And you watch that with Andrew, you know, he sort of gets himself just into the right position so he's not scrubbing up too much speed. And yeah, he's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I agree. Well, look, the next class we'll look at is the midgets, and Liam McCurbury was outstanding, AJ. He drew one, but he certainly pulled away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, he did. We had a good old desperado dive from Glen Jury early in the piece, but Liam McCurbury, he's really enjoying these racetrack conditions, as is his car owner. And so what Selwyn is finding is that they're getting the consistency in the racetrack, and so what you learn one week, you're actually able to transfer to the week after. And that's invaluable for car owners, it's invaluable for the guys that race them, instead of them sort of doing the pick and mix and taking a little bit of a stab at what they're going to be racing on.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're a real professional outfit, and as you say, Selwyn Everett really leading the setups and the charge there. It was interesting to watch Glen Jury living up to his name. He dive bombed Sam McCrenna in that first corner, and I don't know if Sam knew what was going on, but we certainly expected it from Glen. And Jay Chadwick got third in the first race, so he'd be pleased to get some laps in that car. They've had a hell of a time trying to get it to the track.
Yeah, very encouraging for them, isn't it? You know, the Chadwicks, they put a lot of effort into it, as do all the teams, but you know, they've had such a rotten start when they've been so looking forward to it. They set out last year and a lot of anticipation as to what they were going to do this year. Yeah, he's going to be good.
Well, the last class we'll look at Ruapuna was the sprint cars, and it was the Jamie Duff show. That was a very impressive 10-lap record that he put together there, AJ.
Oh, it really was, and like we knew it was fast. You could just tell, and on the monitor, lap after lap after lap in the high 12-second bracket. And he's another one, just loving the racetrack conditions, so they're able to use it. And, you know, if it wasn't for bad luck, sometimes the Duffs would have no luck at all. But Jamie's managed to string it together. That really was a statement, what he laid down the other night. No one had an answer for him.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that really does make him the favourite for Ruapuna for the New Zealand Sprint Car title. You wouldn't believe this, the first 6 laps all under sub 13, so 12.7s, 12.8s, 12.9s. Very impressive stuff. We hardly ever used to see sub 13 second laps at Ruapuna, but with Chris Jemmett looking after that track now, he's got it really racy, and I think we're going to bust that lap record again, which has just recently been set by Jonathan Allard.
It's going to go. I have absolutely no doubt about that. We waited damn near 20 years for it to go last time, but the records are going to start tumbling, and I think we need to start looking in the back of the program and scheduling a few races with some of these Mickey Mouse distances just to get some new names in the record book. The Allard's one was 10 years old, that record.
Well, and just to finish that up, 6 seconds Jamie beat that lap record by, so just work that out over 10 laps. He was absolutely flying. It was very impressive to watch. Well, time to have a quick wrap up of some of the other meetings that were happening around the traps, and Western Springs was up and running on Saturday night, and our very own Matthew Leversedge was racing the Sprinter. Fifth and eighth for Matthew, just good enough, I would say, AJ.
Yeah, they'd give themselves a bit of a pass mark on that. You know, they've had a difficult start to the season, but, you know, he plays a big game.
He does. And hard to believe, Michael Pickens took out the feature. Now, we only just seen him racing in America, so that guy is absolutely racing at every opportunity that he can get. And Jamie Larson second, and Dean Cooper. This guy, Dean Cooper, I really like him, AJ. He seems to be sneaking up there.
Yeah, I'm so excited that he's going to be coming down for the Nationals, because he's one of the young breed, going to be relatively unknown to us down here, but those of us who have seen him go, you know, he really knows how to haul the mail, this kid. He's going to be a real contender.
So the other class we follow at Western Springs is the midgets. Our very own Jack Lowe was up there again, competing with the very best. And third, ninth and fifth in the feature for Jack, so he'll be pleased, but I'm sure they'll be sweating on some better results than that in the near term. Aaron Hodgson took out the feature Louise, and he's always been a great competitor.
Yes, it's Aaron Hodgson in the 35A Carter's car, again winning another feature. He's pretty unstoppable at the moment, with car owner Shane Alec giving him a push in the right direction. Yes,
we have heard that Shane Alec, when he says go, you better go. So good to see Aaron Hodgson listening to that advice. Brad Mosen second. That was a real ding-dong battle between the two of them. And Morgan McHugh, I'm unfamiliar with Morgan. He is registered in Auckland, and a third placing for him. And good to see a good crowd there at Western Springs as well. So time to move on to international drivers abroad, and the one we really like following is Michael Pickens. Louise, what's the update with Michael?
Yeah, so Michael rounded out his California swing that he was competing in with the USAC midgets over there just before returning home to race Western Springs in the weekend. It was, of course, those 2 nights at Merced. He didn't get off to the best start with that crash that we watched earlier in the show, but he did all right. It wasn't terrible, but I'm sure he was probably pegging for some better results.
I think you're right, and we all expect Michael to just go out and win, but the midget competition in the world at the moment is staggeringly good, and you've certainly got to be on your game every lap at some of those tracks in America. AJ, you follow the midgets a wee bit. Your thoughts on it all?
I think that what's happened is that the Western swing there for the USAC down California, you know, it's got some big pots of gold there now. It's got the Hangtown 100, it's got the very, very traditional Turkey Night event, which they do on Thanksgiving, and so the best of the best are there. You know, you're no longer looking at a couple of dozen cars doing the Western swing. You know, they had 50-something there, and they were all the big names.
Yeah, it's pretty staggering stuff, and just of note, I watched the lap times for first right down to about 20th, and there was only a 10th or a 10th and a half between first and 20th, so you certainly got to be on to your setup to make sure you get a good grid draw. Joel Myers Jr., we talk about him all the time. He has landed now, AJ. I'm guessing he's going to be in Christchurch for the next couple of days, getting ready for Saturday.
Yeah, you know, it's a big challenge for the kid. He's only 16, away from home, in a country where we drive on the other side of the road and so on. Look, he's a very, very good racer. Off the track, you know, Dan Anderson will be really looking after Joel and, you know, just getting him settled down. I think that'll be the key to it, is that Joel can just find his feet and get used to being somewhere else.
Well, look, if you didn't know, Joel Myers Jr. is at the track on Saturday, and he's shaking down his sprint car. Of course, the South Island Sprint Car Championship is on at Cromwell, but there is a good number of guys not quite going on that South Island Championship, so we think the racing will be pretty good on Saturday, and if you really want to get an early glimpse at this guy, make sure you get down to the track on Saturday night. Okay, folks, giveaway time again, and Joe Johnson's given us another coffee table booklet, and it's the 2020-21 season at Ruapuna. Some pretty good images in here. And Louise, how did it all play out?
We've got a lot of people with very fond memories of this race. So our question was, what was the last year that Ruapuna hosted the New Zealand Sprint Car Championship, and who won it? And the answer was the 2016-17 season, and the winner was Jamie Larson. Now, the winner of the giveaway is Sam Johnston. He's a massive Speedway fan, so he's going to love this prize.
And good to see Sam Johnson taking out that prize. Well, Batman's soapbox is becoming very popular. AJ, what's the subject this week?
Originality, and we all love something that's slightly different. I think that's why I really enjoy seeing the Denko and the Scott Miller V4 midget car going around, because they're slightly different. You know, when I was a kid, which was a few years ago, particularly the super modified class had some character about it. There was cars called Skippy, there was Puff and stuff, there was a midget car called Popeye, and so these things, they really captured the heart of the kids and their imagination. Right now, all the cars look the same with the exception of the graphics. Something I would love to see is some originality come back into it. Something that a family can build. You know, Dad and the boy put together a race car in the garage utilising a box section chassis. They create their own bodywork on it, plug a Toyota V8 or something similar like that into it, get a late model Japanese diff and go racing. Something that's just a little bit different. What you build is what you race, not what you bought is what you race. Originality, I'm all for it.
Well, there you go, folks. A bit of nostalgia from AJ on his soapbox. And I do remember that TQ that used to float around. They called it the Go-Go Mobile. That was a pretty interesting looking car at Ruapuna many years ago. Well, look, time to move on to the Melrose Motorsport update. Louise, you were running this on Saturday. Who was our winner?
We saw Lockie Moore have the quickest time of the day in the Melrose Motorsport Kart Challenge on Saturday. It was really cool to see him get his own action on the track. He's no stranger to Speedway. He's 9 years old, been around it forever. His dad races V6 wingless sprint cars, so he absolutely loves it.
Good stuff. And Lockie will advance to the final, which is happening on the last meeting of the year. And remember, if they win that night, they get to keep the cart. So that's a good promo from Melrose Motorsport. Okay, folks, time to move on to this week's racing. And we've got Canterbury Championships for all classes apart from sprint cars. What I thought we might do is just make a quick selection and see who comes out on top for next week. Louise, quarter midgets, who's your one selection?
My one pick for the quarter midgets is actually going to be Malachi Webb. I think he's been really strong at the moment. I'd love to see him take it out.
Well, I tell you what, I'll go the easy route and I'll go Jack Brownlee's. AJ, who's your pick?
Romeo Warren Webb.
Yeah, he's really come on lately, hasn't he? And that heat race he won the other day was pretty impressive. All right, AJ, you get the first pick at TQ's.
TQ's Tyler Warnock. Big fan of Tyler's.
Yeah, you've always been a fan of his, and he's certainly going well enough this year. Louise, your pick?
My pick for the TQs is going to be Ben Morgan. I think he's really got it in him.
Well, I'm pretty nostalgic, and of course for me it's Ricky Brett. I'm pretty sure he's just getting better and better at this stage. Time to move on to the modified sprints. AJ, first up.
I will go with Liam Astle with the first season special.
Wow, that would be some sort of a feat. He's certainly quick enough. His lap times have been very good. I'll take the easy route again, Louise. I'll go for Coxie. He's crazy as hell, and he's got the best chance of winning, I reckon. Who are you choosing?
I was also going to say Craig Cox. I think it'd be really cool to see him take out the win.
All right, well, guess what? You're going to have to narrow it down to one because we both can't have him.
Then I'm going to go with Courtney Jones. I think she had a really strong meeting on Saturday, and I think she has the potential to wrap it up again this weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right. Again, she's doing fabulously this year, and that new car of hers is really performing. V6 wingless sprints. Lou, you get to go first here.
I'm going to go Andrew Macca for this. We just spoke to him. He's the New Zealand title holder for the CTRA sanctioned event, so I think he's got a real shot.
Simon Moore for me. AJ?
The big bopper, Andrew Gregg.
Big Andy, yeah, he deserves it, doesn't he?
Oh,
Running
yeah.
4 cars in the V6 wingless sprints, it would be good to see those guys get a result. And the feature class will be the midgets. Louise, your choice?
I think I'm going to be meeting defending champ Len McCoubrey in Victory Lane on Saturday night.
Well, I think he's got a very good chance. Nathan Wilkie for me, a bit of a dark horse, really starting to improve at the moment, and I think he's ready to rock and roll. AJ?
Yeah, taking all the prisoners, we're going to have the bounty hunter Glenn Jury.
Yeah, well, we always like watching that 66C Access man dropping bombs and slide jobs on everybody. It's certainly impressive. Well, we have got some sprint cars at the track, including Joel Myers Jr., but it is the South Island Sprint Car Championship. AJ, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I really do think that Jamie Duff, it's his to lose. I think he's certainly got the speed. The thing about Cromwell, when it goes wrong, it goes badly wrong. It's a very fast track. and things just happen very, very quickly. Healthy respect for several other drivers. Matthew Anderson from Dunedin, he's always really good there. Slammin' Sam O'Callaghan, he's tougher than $2 steak down there. And also, I think that young Adam Evans, he's one of these young kids from down there who looks so good.
Louise, your choice?
I'm going Caleb Bourne. I think he's got a real good shot.
Yeah, Caleb, he's certainly being a War of the Wings champion, he's certainly got some pretty good form. For me, Jacob McIntyre, he's a real standout for me, and if he can hold it on the track, because he's normally going up the wall or inside, I think he could be a really good chance for the South Island Sprint Car Championship at Cromwell, and we hope all our drivers go well down there. Time for final thoughts, and for me, I'm just pleased to see a good weather forecast for this Saturday. AJ?
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing Joel Myers, big TQ field, and also super competitive other classes.
Louise?
We've got 19 quarter midgets on the roster, so there's a lot of competitors travelling from all over the South Island to be here this weekend.
Yeah, won't it be great to get a good dose of speedway uninterrupted by the weather, and good to see big fields competing. Well, that's it, folks. That's the end of the show, and until next time, keep your foot up it.